I just want to try and give you guys some perspective here. We always look up, we never see anything. But the one time I kind of did what Jake Barber and many others have told us about this whole psionic thing. The one time that I did that, I looked up and saw an orb straight over the car. I actually captured the moment that the orb disappeared. Suki. Oh. Yes, it's true. I actually exist outside of the little purple cave that you normally see me in. So I thought I'd take you guys down to the park where I had this little encounter of mine that you guys probably know about by now. And seeing as you got to meet Suki the other day, I thought we could all go for a walk together. So if you see me periodically stopping, it's because she likes to sniff basically everything that we walk past. And you know, this isn't my walk, this is her walk. So we like to let her stop and do her thing. I thought basically on the way to the park, I could tell you about a couple of things that have happened in my life that I'll be upfront about. Are not like conclusive or definitive by any means. Come on, Suki. But are interesting, okay? So once we actually get to the park, then I'll kind of take you to where I was and run you through what happened and try and explain it in a bit more detail. And hopefully once I edit this video, I'll overlay the actual footage so you guys can kind of get an idea of what was going on at the time. Let's start with the first one. So I was pretty young. I couldn't give you an exact age, but I'd say probably about, let's go with 8 years old, something like that. And where it happened was not far from where I live now. We were driving up a big hill. I was in the front passenger seat and it was nighttime, a fairly clear night from what I remember. And a light that was electric blue is the best way to describe it. Come on, Suki. Electric blue and bright, very bright, shot from my 10 o'clock straight over the car so quickly that I leant forward at such a speed that the seatbelt kind of jerked. You know how like if you go too fast, too forward, the seatbelt catches you? It did that. So once it did that, I obviously couldn't see above me, and I turned my head to look out the back and it was gone. So a light that just went super quick. Now that could be like a comet, an asteroid, I don't know. But it was bright blue, it was pretty big, and it was very quick. But I was young, it was a long time ago, and it's not definitive, but it was weird enough to kind of stick with me, and I've always remembered that. Okay, thank you. Normally I carry Suki's poop, but today I have to hold the GoPro, so she's holding it. And she can tell she's not used to it because she keeps walking to the left. Good girl. The next thing didn't happen until about, let's say 6 years ago, if I had to put a time on it. My God, that sun is strong. So about 6 years ago, I used to work in sort of like construction work, and we used to work away. So we would work about 3 or 4 hours away, and we would drive out there, do our work, and then drive home in the same day. So there were big days, which meant we had to get up really early. So by the time we had left the city where I live, and we were sort of out in a more rural area, it was still dark. So the skies were really clear, obviously, because you've got no light pollution out there as well. So one morning we were driving in like a north direction, and basically I looked out to the west and you could see what looked like stars, but they were dancing with each other. That's the best way I can put it. They looked like they were playing. Sounds funny, right? But it's the best way I can describe to you what I was seeing. So these things didn't look close. They looked the same distance away as stars, is the best way that I could put it. but they would like go up, stop, go to the left, stop, and then, you know, the other one would kind of like follow it. They looked like they were playing all within this kind of small space of the sky. And it was obviously something very interesting because, I mean, planes, satellites, helicopters, well, for one, planes and helicopters aren't up that high, and they definitely don't move and stop and change direction like that. And neither do satellites. So I have no idea what I saw, but I definitely saw something. But when they just look like lights in the sky, that they just look like stars, I mean, what can you do with that? You know, it's just cool, interesting. You know, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the world. It's not that interesting to hear about, I know that, but that's just my experience. So I guess as we begin to approach the park now, I might just give you some of my thoughts and feelings about what happened that day. Also, the sun isn't in my eyes anymore, so that's fantastic. As UFO people, right, we always look up when we go outside, whether it's you're just going to check the mail in the morning or nighttime, if you're just dipping out for a second. I know I do anyway. I always look up. And we never see anything, right? You never ever see anything, 99.99% of the time. And that's why this stuck out to me, because we always look up, we never see anything. But the one time I kind of did what Jake Barber and many others have told us about this whole psionic thing. The one time that I did that, I looked up and I saw something. So of course, could it be just a coincidence? Of course it could. But the probability of that is, you know, probably kind of like winning the lotto or something like that, right? To look up as many times as I know I do, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do, and never see anything. But then the one time you do these kind of psionic practices, or whatever you want to call them, and you see something, the probability of that being a coincidence is very slim, I think, anyway. But anyway, we're just coming up to the park now, so I'm going to take you to that park bench. Come on, Suki. So there are some people here kind of playing on the grass, but that's okay. That won't stop me filming. Hopefully Suki doesn't bother them too much. Hey, Sukes, sit. Good girl. Wait. She's staying. Go on. Suki, she's friendly. Suki. Good girl. Good girl. She's beautiful. She's the most loving dog, and it's crazy how people just avoid her like the plague because of how she looks. It's kind of sad really, because she's just the sweetest thing. But anyway, that's not what we're here for. This bench here, this is where it happened, right? And where Suki is right now. Suki. Pretty much where Suki was there is where I filmed the video that I'm gonna overlay for you guys to watch here. And what was happening was I was sitting here up on this bench, just like this. And basically she would come and bring the ball to my feet. And you can see all the empty chewed up sticks and tennis balls. Yeah, that's Suki. She generally gets a ball or gets a stick and then destroys it and then we go find a new one. But this is what we were doing, right? I'd throw the ball and she would bring it back. And we were kind of just doing this. So as I would throw the ball to her and she would go fetch it, I was just kind of sitting here, closing my eyes, and as I said, just kind of inviting contact, right? I wasn't really doing a meditation, but I was definitely focusing my mind the same way you do when you do meditations, right? So as I said, I did that probably like once or twice and looked up and didn't see anything. And then I threw the ball for her another couple of times and looked up and saw an orb. I just want to try and give you guys some perspective here on I want to try and point out and make it clearer for you to kind of get a gauge, because right, these iPhone videos that we see of people filming these orbs and lights in the sky, like, they suck. They all suck. Mine suck. They all are inconclusive. They're all kind of like, oh yeah, okay, that could be like whatever. I can't really gauge the distance. I can't really gauge anything other than there are some pixels in the middle of the screen that are lighter than the rest. That's, you know, that's as good as it gets with these phones, right? So the reason for bringing you down here was to try and give you a better idea than that. So here we go. So as I said, when this thing happened, I was sitting with my bum right up here. And when I looked up and saw this thing, you can see that there is this tree here, right? You can see that tree. Now that is the tree that you see in the video. But before I started filming, right? I want to convey this because I think it's important. Sitting here, that is the tree that you see in the video, right? And I'm filming it through here, and you see the orb up here. And basically by the end of the video, you see it disappear just over like that ridge there. So I wanted to take you guys here to explain that when I was standing just there and this thing appeared, it was actually like there, okay? That's where it was. And the time that it took to travel from like there to there was about maybe like the time that it took to travel from like there to there. Suki! Suki, come on! She's trying to steal their ball. She's trying to steal their ball. Suki, come on! Oh, she's found one of her own. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. That ball's not gonna last long. Anyway, as I was saying, so when I was standing there and I saw this orb appear, it was like here, okay? So I'm gonna moving over a little bit now. It was like here, but when you guys see it in the video, it's like just behind this tree here, okay? So the time that it took to go from like here to here was about 15 seconds, maybe 10 to 20 seconds. And in that time, I was just standing there, stun locked, going, am I actually seeing this? Am I imagining this because I want to see it? Yeah, it was kind of like a 10-15 seconds of, oh my God, what is going on? After that 10 or 15 seconds though, I was like, shit, I need to film this, right? So that's when you see the start of the first video, the orb is just about there somewhere. And you'll see, because I'll overlay it, that I actually captured the moment that the orb disappeared, right? It went off over that way. I think it was just about like there. And it literally disappeared from camera. So even in the footage that I captured that you guys can see, you do see the orb go from like somewhere up here all the way there and disappear. And that happens in the space of about like 2 minutes is probably the total amount of the footage that you guys got, maybe a little bit more because I did stop filming for about 20 seconds in between. But yeah, that's how it happened. And again, I know the footage isn't very conclusive, but the fact is there was a light in the sky that moved and turned in ways that an aircraft doesn't, and doesn't look like an aircraft to me, and vanished. And I thought maybe just bringing you guys down here would give a little bit of extra perspective. filming it through here and you see the orb up here, and basically by the end of the video you see it disappear just over like that ridge there. So that about wraps it up. Hopefully by bringing you guys down there you get like a better scope and a better idea of what happened. I know the videos suck, iPhone videos suck when it comes to these lights in the sky, but I guess that's really what most of us have, right? Maybe that's for a reason. Maybe there's a reason our phones have shit cameras. But anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you all to all the members. Appreciate all the extra support that you guys give. It really does mean a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed. A bit of a different video. It's kind of weird for me bringing my camera around my neighborhood like this, but it was a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well, and I'll see you next time.
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light in our galaxy. Everything. Because everything is in balance. Everything is a polarity.
I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk